Okay guys, section 3, questions 21 and 22. अभी इसके इम्तहान और भी हैं, right? There are many trials of love actually in English as we say. Which two hobbies was Thor Heyerdahl very interested as a youth? Now listen carefully. 5 hobbies have been mentioned. What's the question? 2 hobbies and Thor Heyerdahl was very interested. Now, do you know who is Thor Heyerdahl? Yeah, मामे दा वड्डा मुंडा है. नहीं? Okay. Thor Heyerdahl was a traveler and he discovered few areas and all that. मुझे भी यहीं से पता चला था. Okay? Yeah, exactly. So, which 2 hobbies? He was very interested. So they will talk about all 5 hobbies, but some of the hobbies they say he was not interested, but her mother wanted him to do that. Or her mother was interested in that, her father was interested in that, but actually the question is 2 hobbies and Thor Heyerdahl very interested. So we'll just focus. I'll play the audio for question number 21 and 22 and you will encircle 2 options, right? Let's do it.
You will hear 2 anthropology students called Victor and Olivia discussing their joint presentation about a Norwegian explorer called Thor Heyerdahl.
Right, well, for our presentation, shall I start with the early life of Thor Heyerdahl?
Sure. Why don't you begin with describing the type of boy he was, especially his passion for collecting things?
That's right. He had his own little museum. And I think it's unusual for children to develop their own values and not join in their parents' hobbies. I'm thinking of how Heyerdahl wouldn't go hunting with his dad, for example.
Yeah, he preferred to learn about nature by listening to his mother read to him. And quite early on, he knew he wanted to become an explorer when he grew up. That came from his camping trips he went on in Norway, I think.
No, it was climbing that he spent his time on as a young man.
Oh, right.
So, climbing, B and C. And see how they said camping. They said no, it was climbing. So you have to be alert. Never just, sometimes what happens, you find the answer and then you relax. I found the answer, ponkandiyo. Yeah, never do this thing, ponkandiyo. Because you never know how they change the answer. With a friction, then they change the next answer. Now those who first thought camping, but then she said, no, it was climbing in fact. So climbing is the answer. So listen to them till the end, right? Yeah, इनका कोई दीन मान नहीं है. Change कर लेते हैं and all that. So it's climbing and collecting. And they talked about collecting in the beginning. They talked about hunting also. Her father was interested. And reading, her mother used to read him. His mother used to read him and his father. Thor Heyerdahl is not a girl, okay? Yeah. So, right answer on your answer sheet on question number 21, you will write B. On question number 22, you will write C. Or you can write it in any order as well. Let's do 2 more questions, 23 and 24. Choose 2 letters A to E. Which do the speakers say are the 2 reasons why Heyerdahl went to live on an island? 2 reasons. Other 3 options are not the reasons why he lived on an island. Clear? Okay, let's see. A, examine ancient carvings. For ancient carvings, they can use the word sculptures. B, experience an isolated place. Experience isolated place, lonely place and all that. C, formulate a new theory. To make a new theory. D, learn survival skills, how to survive on an island alone. And E, to study the impact of an extreme environment. Study the impact extreme environment. Again, they will talk about all options, but the question is, speakers say 2 reasons why Heyerdahl went to live on an island. Let's start.
After university, he married a classmate and together they decided to experience living on a small island to find out how harsh weather conditions shaped people's lifestyles.
As part of their preparation, before they left home, they learnt basic survival skills, like building a shelter. I guess they needed that knowledge in order to live wild in a remote location with few inhabitants, cut off by the sea, which is what they were aiming to do.
An important part of your talk should be the radical theory Heyerdahl formed from examining mysterious ancient carvings that he happened to find on the island. I think you should finish with that.
Okay.
So, A is a trap, let me tell you. At the end they talked about A, it's a trap. I'll play the audio again. So, it's a C, formulate a new theory, no. It's actually E. First they talked about it, study the impact of an extreme environment, weather and all that. After marriage का इससे क्या ताल्लुक है? Yeah, you're right, exactly. After marriage he decided to study the impact of extreme environment of home. Yeah? Okay. Yeah, his wife said, ठहर जा तेनू दसनी है, like that. And then it's option B, experience an isolated place. I play the audio again, focus these 2 points and why they are the right answers.
After university, he married a classmate and together they decided to experience living on a small island to find out how harsh weather conditions shaped people's lifestyle.
How harsh weather conditions change people's lifestyle. He married a class fellow, right? That's what you're going to do in Canada, not here. But make sure that class fellow is Canadian. First Canadian, then whatever, okay? Yeah. All right, so it's E.
As part of their preparation, before they left home, they learnt basic survival skills, like building a shelter.
So they learned basic survival skills, but these were not the reasons. They learned them because they had to go.
I guess they needed that knowledge in order to live wild in a remote location with few inhabitants.
Remote location with few inhabitants. So they had to experience an isolated place. Remote location with few inhabitants, that is what they call experience an isolated place.
Excuse me?
Yes?
I'm moving south to the Antarctic.
I play this again, please, last time.
After university, he married a classmate and together they decided to experience living on a small island to find out how harsh weather conditions shaped people's lifestyles.
As part of their preparation, before they left home, they learnt basic survival skills, like building a shelter. I guess they needed that knowledge in order to live wild in a remote location with few inhabitants, cut off by the sea, which is what they were aiming to do.
An important part of your talk should be the radical theory Heyerdahl formed from examining mysterious ancient carvings that he happened to find.
And that is about the important part of your presentation and all that. Okay, now please come to questions 25 onwards. It's B for boy and E for elephant. The later life of Thor Heyerdahl. Question number 25. According to Victor and Olivia, academics thought, academics mean the people who belong to academia. Academics thought that Polynesian migration from the east was impossible due to means reason. Polynesian migration was impossible. Why was it impossible? 3 reasons are mentioned. A, eastern countries were far away. Far away, for that they can use the word space, distance, far and all that. B, lack of materials for boat building. C, direction of the winds and current. So the question is, academics thought that Polynesian migration from the east was impossible. Like, why was it impossible to migrate to Polynesian? So the reasons are given. Out of 3 reasons, 1 is the answer, 2 reasons are just the traps. Let's do that.
Alright, Victor, so after your part, I'll talk about Thor Heyerdahl's adult life, continuing from the theory he had about Polynesian migration. Up until that time, of course, academics had believed that humans first migrated to the islands in Polynesia from Asia in the west.
Yes, they thought that travel from the east was impossible because of the huge empty stretch of ocean that lies between the islands and the nearest inhabited land.
Yes, but Heyerdahl spent ages studying the cloud movements, ocean currents, and wind patterns to find if it was actually possible.
A, exactly. C is just a trap. He spent ages to study clouds and winds and currents and all that. So academics thought, for that they use the word space and oceans and all that. So it's a fact that eastern countries were far away. Question number 26. Which do the speakers agree was the main reason? Now main reason means they will tell you some minor reasons, but main reason for Heyerdahl's raft journey. Raft journey is like, you know, it's a journey on tough sea, rough sea, it's called river rafting. So which do the speakers agree was main reason? A, overcome a research setback. Research setback means when the research went wrong. B, demonstrate a personal quality that I can do it, I am Shaktiman or Superman or Spider-Man and all that. C, test a new theory. Test a new theory, test a new idea, examine a new idea and all that. Now listen to this. Main reason for Heyerdahl's raft journey.
And another argument was that there was no tradition of large shipbuilding in the communities lying to the east of Polynesia. But Heyerdahl knew they made lots of coastal voyages in locally built canoes.
Yes, or sailing on rafts, as was shown by the long voyage that Heyerdahl did next. It was an incredibly risky journey to undertake. Sometimes I wonder if he did that trip for private reasons, you know, to show others that he could have spectacular adventures. What do you think, Olivia?
Well, I think it was more a matter of simply trying out his idea, to see if migration from the east was possible.
Yes, that's probably it.
Yeah, that's probably it, what Olivia said, trying out his idea. So, C, well done, test a new theory. I'll send you this audio, you can practice with this handout, okay? Alright, let's move on. Question number 27. What was most important to Heyerdahl about his raft journey? This listening is a bit boring and dry, so sometimes it can be like that, right? What was most important to Heyerdahl about his raft journey? A, fact that he was the first person to do it. So first person to do it. He was the only one doing this, or he was the first to do this and all that. B, speed of crossing the Pacific. Speed of crossing the Pacific Ocean. And C, use of authentic construction methods. He used traditional or authentic construction methods. Let's see.
And the poor guy suffered a bit at that time because the war forced him to stop his work for some years.
Yes, when he got started again and planned his epic voyage, do you think it was important to him that he achieve it before anyone else did?
I haven't read anywhere that that was his motivation. The most important factor seems to have been that he used only ancient techniques and local materials to build his raft.
Yes. I wonder how fast it went.
Well, it took them 97 days from South America to the Pacific Islands.
They talked about all three options. So, C, well done. I wonder how fast it went. So, it's not the speed that was the most important. It wasn't that he wanted to be the first person. Again, they denied it. I never read it anywhere. So, it's actually C, use of authentic construction methods. Question number 28. Why did Heyerdahl go to Easter Island? Reason. A, build a stone statue. B, sail a reed boat. Reed is a plant, a material. C, learn the local language. Now reason, why did Heyerdahl go to Eastern Island? Right? Build a stone statue, sail a reed boat, and by the way, you can see this multiple choice is starting with a verb. So you will focus the verb, right? Alright, let's see, just do it. And again, traps are there to welcome you.
And after that, Heyerdahl went to Easter Island, didn't he? We should mention the purpose of that trip. I think he sailed there in a boat made out of reeds.
No, that was later on in Egypt, Olivia.
Oh yes, that's right.
But what he wanted to do was talk to the local people about their old stone carvings and then make one himself to learn more about the process.
I see.
Stone carvings, and he made himself, so A. And you might think when they said local people, talk to local people, oh yes, learn a language. But actually they did not say anything about learning a language, right? So it's actually A. 29. In Olivia's opinion, Heyerdahl's greatest influence was on A. Theories about Polynesian origins, B. Development of archaeological methodology, C. Establishing archaeology as an academic subject. So, theories about Polynesian, development of archaeology methodology, or establishing archaeology as an academic subject. Academic subject means a subject that is taught in schools, colleges and universities. So, greatest influence. For that they use the word impact for influence.
Right, well, I'll prepare a PowerPoint slide at the end that acknowledges our sources. I mainly used The Life and Work of Thor Heyerdahl by William Oliver. I thought
I played the wrong audio.
Well, what a great life. Even though many of his theories have been disproven, he certainly left a lasting impression on many disciplines, didn't he? To my mind, he was the first person to establish what modern academics call practical archaeology. I mean that they try to recreate something from the past today, like he did with his raft trip. It's unfortunate that his ideas about where Polynesians originated from have been completely discredited.
Yes.
No, it isn't C, it's B actually. C is establishing archaeology as an academic subject. No, I play it again. They talked about development of archaeological methodology. Listen again, please.
Well, what a great life. Even though many of his theories have been disproven, he certainly left a lasting impression on many disciplines, didn't he? To my mind, he was the first person to establish what modern academics call practical archaeology.
Practical archaeology they call, so first person to develop and make archaeological methodology, right? So it's actually B.
I mean that they try to recreate some.
Okay, let's do question number 30. It's about which criticism do the speakers make of William Oliver's textbook. So they will talk about William Oliver's textbook, and there are three criticisms. Out of three, one is the right one. Style is out of date. For out of date, they use the word old-fashioned style. If they say style is old-fashioned, or if they say, well, his style is not that old-fashioned, then it's not A. B. Content is oversimplified. Means quite simple. Very, very, very simple. And C. Methodology is flawed. Flawed means wrong methodology. There are some flaws in his methodology. Now listen, they do criticism. They criticize this guy William Oliver. Which one is that? Style, content, or methodology?
Right, well, I'll prepare a PowerPoint slide at the end that acknowledges our sources. I mainly used The Life and Work of Thor Heyerdahl by William Oliver. I thought the research methods he used were very sound, although I must say I found the overall tone somewhat old-fashioned. I think they need to do a new, revised edition.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. A. Clear? It's A. Style is out of date and old-fashioned, and I agree. Okay, that's right.